To set up your camera for a party scene, or if you're indoors and there's low light, it's really quite simple. There are a couple things you can do. Now the camera does have an automatic scene mode for this, so go ahead and turn your mode dial to SCN. SCN stands for scene, and this has a party indoor option. Just use your dial here to move over. Let's find that party scene. There it is. Indoor, you can see it's indicated by that little party icon. This will automatically set up the camera the best it can for indoor scenes. The white balance is automatically set, the ISO is automatically set, and the flash is automatically set. You can force the flash to fire, but by default it is set to automatic, and you can change that by pressing the flash button as always. And with the dial, just move over to flash on or flash off depending on what you want. Now, because everything is automated, I usually don't like using this scene. My white balance is automatically set, which in an indoor situation, it can create very, very yellowish casts. Usually indoor lights are tungsten, and the auto white balance will not handle that very well. So because of that, and because my ISO is also set to automatic, I usually don't use this scene. What I would recommend doing is, with your mode dial, go back to the program mode. The P on your mode dial is program and allows you control over ISO and white balance. As you can see, my flash right now is forced on, and depending on the situation, you may want to keep it that way. If you are taking a picture of a portrait, for example, indoors, then keep it on flash. If you're taking, however, a picture of a large party of people at a table, and people are 2 feet from the camera as well as 10 or 15 feet from the camera, I would turn the flash off because it's not going to be very even. Everybody in the foreground will be very, very brightly lit, and everybody in the background will be very dark. So depending on your situation, go ahead and set that. However, the white balance I would change. Go ahead and press either the function button to access the function menu or the shortcut button as we set up in the Getting Started guide, and use the dial to move this over to tungsten. Now, because I'm using tungsten, I'm going to choose to not use the flash. The flash is a very blue light and tungsten is very yellow, so I don't want that. Press set, and I'll press the flash button to access the flash mode. I'll turn that off and press set. My ISO is currently set to 80, and this is great for outdoors if you have a lot of light, but typically indoors you don't have very much light. The lights may be very, very dim, so 80 will probably not be good enough. So I want to increase the ISO. Because I'm in the program mode, I have access to the ISO. I can just use my ISO dial right here to increase that setting. You can see it also in the back. And you want to see what works best. I'm going to set mine to 400. Press the shutter button halfway. I'm not worried about focusing on anything right now. I just want to check my shutter speed. My shutter speed is currently set to 1/800th of a second. That is plenty fast. Of course, I do have a lot of light in my scene. In your case, it won't be quite that fast. But as long as it's over 1/60th of a second, you'll be able to hand hold the camera, and that's really what's important. So make sure your shutter speed is fast enough. If it's too fast, like mine is right now, there is plenty of light, then I would turn the ISO down because I don't want the image to be very grainy. The lower the ISO, the less grainy the image, and the higher ISO, even though I can get to a faster shutter speed, the image will be much, much more grainy, and the colors won't be nearly as smooth. So I want to use really the lowest ISO possible for the lighting available. When I found that, now I want to go ahead and place my focusing square over the subject, press the shutter button halfway. Once that focusing square has turned green, I heard a double beep. I know my camera is in focus. I don't want to move the camera back and forth, obviously, because that distance between the camera and the subject has to stay constant, but I can reposition the camera in this way to recompose the image the way I want it. Now, once the picture is recomposed, I just press the shutter button the rest of the way, and the picture is instantaneously captured. To find out much more about digital photography and your digital camera, go to lbguides.com.